when I did my first chemotherapy, I was so sick. I didn't even think I was going to live to see today. When I left the altar, I heard a voice said to me, if you leave here not giving your life to the Lord, you might not be able to make it back in.
Did you ever get a chance to thank Bolt for what he did for you? This week I'm joined by Daisha Muir. You don't know her by that name. She's formerly Gaza INDU, but she has shed that identity and is now living a Christian life and is also a survivor of cancer, cervical cancer. So she's a warrior. She has strength, and I'm sure she will be inspiring some of you today. Nice to have you, Daisha.
Nice. Thank you for having me.
I didn't think I would be calling you Daisha.
I know, right?
In this lifetime.
Yes.
But you are Daisha.
Yes.
You are no longer living in the identity of Gaza INDU.
No.
I want to know how that transformation happened for you.
Okay. All of this happened during my time when I was sick. Because I was sick with cancer, cervical cancer. And it was right after I had babies when I found out, when I was diagnosed, because I had babies October and I was diagnosed in June.
Shortly after.
Yeah,
not even a year.
My children were like 6 months or somewhere thereabout. And it was twins.
Twins.
How hard that was.
Yeah.
Being so sick, had to be, caring for my twin. Trust me, but I thank God for my daughter every day. My oldest daughter, she is 18 now. At that time, she was like 13, 14, and she was there for me and her siblings.
When you were going through that process with cancer, were you afraid that you wouldn't make it because maybe you were surrounded by other persons?
Yes, I was scared of not making it. I was scared because, as I said, there were times where I didn't even think I would live to see the next day. I can recall one time I wrote. It was a Christmas. And I can recall I wrote on Facebook telling everybody how much I love them because I don't think I'll be living to see tomorrow. That's how low I got. During my sickness, I decided that I am ready to give my life to the Lord. Upon being invited at church by one of my, ex-co-worker. She was a dancehall artist too.
Who is that?
Her name is Action K.
Okay, no.
Yes. So she invited me to church one Sunday, and I went to church with her. That time I was very, very sick, and I went to church with her, and I was there, but I couldn't worship. I couldn't, so because of what I was going through. And altar call, and I decided I'm going up for altar call. And I was there, and they prayed for me and stuff like that. And then Naosha said to me, asked me if I'm ready to be baptized. And I said, yes, I want to, but I want to wait because I wanted people to be there at my baptism. Anyway, by that, she said, okay, fine, no problem. And before I took my seat, before I left the altar, I heard a voice said to me, if you leave here not giving your life to the Lord, you might not be able to make it back in. Listen to me. When I heard that voice, plain as day, I just turned when I looked 2 times, and I say, she said, what happened? I said, I'm ready. And she said, you ready? I said, yes. She said, what made you change your mind? I said, the voice that I heard just now. And she said, wow. And after I heard another voice again said to me, no, you can't do it now because remember you are, bleeding and stuff. And I said, oh, I can't, and she said, you know what? Go in that room, take a check, and tell me how heavy you are. Well, listen to me. When I went in that room and I come back out, nothing, there was nothing. So that was the enemy trying to block me from giving my life over to God. And I got baptized that Sunday. And, from then, My faith started lifting, started activating my faith, and trusting God to do what I know He can do.
Right.
And I actually stopped going doctor, because when I went to the doctor, one day I went to the doctor, and the doctor told me that the things that he was telling me about treatment, and it got me real scared. Growing up, I heard about this whole chemo thing and poison to the body and stuff like that. So anyway, it got me really scared, and after being explained and telling me the side effects of the chemotherapy, not much as the radiation, but the chemotherapy, the side effects, I didn't really want it. So I decided not to go back.
That's brave.
Yes. That's not brave, that's faith. Yes, so, I decided not to do it. I said, listen, I want God to do this, because I don't think I want any radiation or chemotherapy telling me that this is what is going to happen, and So I left, and I didn't return back to doctor. They called me like every day.
But how were you feeling during that period? Did you find that you were getting worse?
Okay, the bleeding continued, but my body-wise, it was just the bleeding that was really my problem. I wasn't feeling ill any otherwise. Things got worse. A few months down the line, things got really bad, and I decided, so listen, I'm going to start my treatment. I go in back. When I went back, my doctors see me and they're like, this is a divorce case. So, and they're asking, where were you all this time? I tried to contact you, and, and I said, I was scared. I didn't want to do the treatment because I was scared of what will happen. I got a new doctor assigned to me. Her name is Dr. Kyan Smith. I thank God for that lady. Every day, she you need to start treatment from yesterday. So I was like, okay, how do I go about this and stuff? And she started telling me. Then she's saying, I have to do a marking first, and the marking is what costs the money.
Marking?
Yes.
What exactly is that?
It's where the marking is the area, the area where you're going to get the radiation.
Oh, okay.
Right. And that is what really costs the money. I didn't have that money that time. And I reached out to the great Usain Bolt. I reached out to him, and he...
You knew him before?
Yes, I knew him before from the time I was in Gaza. Yeah, he was very close to us. And I reached out to him, and he didn't hesitate. He never hesitated.
Was Bolt your first contact, like the first person came to mind to say, let me call Bolt? No.
I reached out to others. I reached out to other entertainers, and I didn't get the support I needed. And that was when it's like, God just tell me Bolt. And I got his contact, and I contacted him, and he didn't hesitate. He told me yes, but like a week after, I got so bad that I went back into the hospital, and it was right there on my hospital bed. I called him and I say, I'm in the hospital now, and the doctor said, listen, you need to start your treatment now, so you need to get your marking done now to start your treatment. And I called him, and he sent it right there on my hospital bed. I was there lying on my hospital bed when he said to me, okay, which hospital are you? What ward are you on? And he sent it to me. And, after to get the marking is a long line.
Oh.
It's a long line, and the date's long. And I prayed and I asked God, I said, God, do me, I beg you, give me an early date, because I really need to start this treatment. Because in order for the bleeding to stop, I had was to start the radiation, because the radiation is what stopped the bleeding. And, I prayed about it, and I got an early date. when I did my first chemotherapy, I was so sick. I didn't even think I was going to live to see today. You know, it was that bad. And when I went in for my second chemotherapy, I said to Dr. Karen, no, before she came in the morning, I refused chemo. And I started crying, and that was my first time ever crying going to the doctor to receive treatment. It was my first time breaking down so bad. Dr. Karen came in the morning and she asked me what's wrong. And I said, Dr. Karen, I'm refusing chemo this morning. And I said to her, I said, okay, listen, let me go and talk to God. I said, I need to talk to God about this because I don't think I want anymore. And I left and I went in the chemo room. I sat on the chemo bed and I started crying. I started pouring out to God, you know, and I was weak. That day I was very weak, and I started pouring out to him, and I said, God, if I'm to do the chemo this morning, let it be done. I will do it, but I'm asking you not to let me do anymore. I said, take over, do the rest, you know. And after I got the answer that I should go and do the chemo, and he'll do the rest, I got up and I went inside and I said, Dr. Karen, I'm going to do chemo this morning, but I'm not going to do anymore. You know, I said, I'm not going to do anymore. And she said, she smiled at me and she said, I'm not even paying you no mind. And let me tell you something, after that Tuesday, every other Tuesday for the other 4 Tuesdays, because I was supposed to get 6 chemo and I only did 2. And for the other 4 weeks left, there's always something on that Tuesday for me not to get chemo.
But you were feeling better, you were gradually improving?
Yes, I was feeling better. As I said, the only thing, my only weakness was the bleeding, and that's what got me weak. Because, you know, losing blood, you're weak, you know, and I receive blood, but every time I receive it, it just come back out, yeah. Yeah, so I started feeling a little better and stuff, and after my treatment finished, I did my brachytherapy. That's a minor surgery. And I did my brachytherapy and I came out and everything, and after they asked me to go and do an MRI to see what's going on, I did my MRI, and let me tell you something. When I took in that MRI, nervous than me I couldn't find. I was like, but I knew God did it. But there was something else telling me, like you know, giving me a doubt, same way. And when I went in and I gave her the MRI results, and she was like, okay, Miss Muir, I guess you're cancer-free. Now listen to me. I think I reached the ceiling when I jumped. I jump and I cry out to God. I thank him so much. I tell him thanks because I know it was him. It has to be him. It has to be God, because if I prayed and I asked him to do the rest, I'm supposed to get 6 chemo.
And you got 4, 2.
And I got 2. And everybody else, even a lot of people like that get all 6 chemo, still not well, still not healed. Come on. This has to be God.
But did you ever get a chance to thank Bolt for what he did for you? Have you seen him since?
No, I haven't seen him. I haven't spoken to him, but I have reached out to him to tell him thanks, you know, and I would love for him to, you know, even contact me or try to contact me so that I can give him a warm thank you for listening to God, because I know that was God who spoke to him to help me, you know. So I really want to thank him so much for being there, and my other support system, my other support team that I had during that time. Tabia, I don't know if you know Tabia, that used to do Intense. Okay. Yes. She was one of my support also. You know, I have more people that was there for me, like financial wise, that was really there. And I want to thank everybody that was there, and I'm inviting them to come to church.